last time, you guys managed to make your way through the old owl well and promptly destroyed um, a bunch of zombies and along with a wizard that was apparently raising the dead for slave labor, essentially. And
Yeah, he's a punk.
yep, you stole all of his stuff and made your way south to Wyvern Tor, where you guys are now just cresting up over the hill, where you can see a lone single orc is currently guarding the cave entrance. You are currently unseen.
Hmm.
Doesn't look like this orc is particularly attentive, but you would know that as you grow closer, your odds of being spotted grow more and more.
I look back at our party and I say, well, how should we approach this? Cool. Claudius, if you're talking, you're muted.
Last time we had a group of orcs approach us, they attempted to kill us.
That is a good point. I think it's safe to assume that these guys will probably do the same thing. Unless we want to try to negotiate. I do think Claudius mentioned on our travel up here that he had some sort of idea.
No. 'Twas a joke, a jest.
Does anybody speak Orcish?
I don't know. Let me see.
I happened to pass by an orc. She was quite the tall one, and a warrior too.
Oh, did we take a rest on our journey up here? I don't remember.
Yeah, you definitely could have.
Did you guys want to do that? Or just, like, walk straight up from where we were at? Yay, nay.
Yeah, we could do a quick short rest.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't think it would make sense that we did a long rest.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
There's no automatic way to do a short rest, is there?
No. No, you have to do
Okay.
it manually in roll 20.
So remind me what we get on a short rest.
Well, you can roll your hit dice to heal up if you're missing hit points, and then you would regain any features that you would normally gain on a short rest. Like fighters get back their action surge and their second wind.
Second wind. Cool.
Warlocks get their spell slots back.
Would I get any spell slots back as an Eldritch Knight?
You would have to.
Or is that a specific feature?
You would have to look to see
Okay.
if that's one of your features. I could try to look that up for you.
Let's see. Gosh, this is a long section. It doesn't say. That's mainly just like a whole huge descriptor of spellcasting.
Yeah, it should be somewhere in the spellcasting description. Let's see. I gotta find what what book Eldritch Knight is in. It's Player's Handbook.
As far as I can tell, it lets me basically as a fighter, cast anything that would normally be cast as a wizard. And I also used my spellcasting modifier for everything except for like that first cantrip I took as my racial feat, within the intelligence modifier.
You regain all expended spell slots when you finish a long rest.
Okay.
Yeah, which typically anything that's based on the wizard spell list is gonna mirror the fact that wizards only get them back on a long rest. And as far,
Okay.
I believe the only ones that get spells back on a short rest are warlocks, and that's because they have so few spell slots in the first place.
Yeah.
Which makes
Yeah,
sense.
Does he get arcane recovery though? Because
No.
that one you can use.
No, not only wizards get that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's pretty cool
Well,
for wizards, mind you.
I've got. I haven't changed it. My sheet still says 3/3, but I for some reason that doesn't feel right. I feel like I used my witch bolt last session we played, so I'm gonna put it at 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure last session we played, I used my witch bolt cast once. I've still got 2 hit die. Okay, I should be good on everything else.
Okay. Well, what would you guys like to do?
I would like to use my staff again and refresh my mage armor.
Okay. And you guys are still sitting about 50 to 60 yards away from the opening of the cave. You see there is only one opening. This is in a large mountainous area, and you can see this cave is in a little bit of a divot and in amongst the valleys that form between these mountains. And you can see that this just seems to be where the orcs have settled for now in this area. You can smell cooking meat coming from that nearby cave, and a little bit of a smoke trail comes out from this bottom entrance. So apparently they have a fire inside, or at least did have one. It smells like they were cooking meat.
So this area directly in front of us for like the next 25 feet is this a different type of terrain, or is that just trees, or what's all this?
Yeah, it's
right
covered. It's well covered. That's why you're able to get an approach that the orc probably wouldn't see. And you can tell the orc isn't reacting. But if you get too much closer out in the open like this, you guys may be. Yeah, it depends on how sneakily you can go.
And how much of an elevation is this right here near this ridge? I see it's got around like this rock corner and then a little bit of a gap right here.
Yeah, it's about 5 feet. It's not huge. You know, it's
Okay,
not going to cost
right
you.
here?
It's not going to cost you any movement. No, that is flat.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a divot here, and same here is about 5 feet up, but you can easily climb over that.
Could I move up to the center of this brush and place a hunting trap and then move back to my current position?
Sure, make a stealth check.
Okay. Me. Ooh.
All right, so as rustling begins, you see the orc kind of react to hearing something, and
So I would have been right here when this is happening.
Yeah, he's gonna start walking out to investigate.
Can I try to lay down flat real quick before he gets there and hide?
Okay, go ahead and make another stealth check with disadvantage because he's heard something and he's now searching actively.
Okay. Okay, here, let's hope for a good roll.
He sees you as you try to duck down into the crevice. He says, "Hey, who are you?" And he's gonna start backing up, and he's yelling loudly. So yeah, you would imagine that he's trying to alert the others while also addressing you.
And I try to persuade him and say, I'm your conscience.
Okay. Make a persuasion check with disadvantage. He is going to pull out a what looks like a horn of sorts, and he actually blows a long, loud note. And we will go ahead and have everyone roll initiative.
Sorry, guys, I tried.
Ooh.
This is the fun part anyway.
Yeah. I'll do my best to pilot Athtar in a way that doesn't get him killed. But, if he dies, it's his own fault for not being here.
Anyone heard from him during the week?
The last message that he sent was last week, I believe. Yeah, it was in response to that Twitter post that you put, Claudius. It was on the 30th. Of good old Jim Ross, which is a pretty great choice for a GIF. It is kind of a bummer, but who knows? Hopefully he's okay.
Please, with a nat 20 for initiative.
Let's see. All right. Well, Claudius, you are the first to act.
Alright, so as first to act. Let me see. I'm a good distance away. Good grief. Let me see. I guess that's 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I'll move up to this orc and I'll strike him with my mace.
Okay.
Keep saying mace. It's a morning star.
Amazing
And-
star.
Bonk.
Yep, that definitely hits. And you can tell he's pretty well hurt from that. Anything else for you?
I shall raise my shield to prepare what he may throw.
Okay. Well, Athtar gets to go next. So let's see. He will come out here. We're going to go ahead and have him Thornwood. Which misses, unfortunately. Alrighty. And Sheriff.
I am going to move 10 feet to where I'm kind of right on this ledge, where I can have an angle
All
down
right.
on the orc. Do I
You
still
have the high ground.
Try it, work again.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a shot with my my longbow at him.
Okay.
Oh, hang on, I still
Ooh.
had disadvantage. So like, no, that wasn't.
No, that's
Disadvantage
just
to,
a
like-
straight roll.
Oh, yeah, okay. For some reason the number caught me off guard.
It
Okay.
is a natural 1 though, so that will miss. Anything else for you?
No, I better not.
All right, Tormar.
I will hurl a firebolt at him,
Okay.
which probably misses.
It does indeed. All right, so you start to hear some murmuring and some shouting coming from the cave, and then you see a rather large, hulking creature come barreling out of the cave. He comes to about there and sees you all, and you see him pull out a javelin. And he's going to go ahead
That's
and
a big boy.
he's going to throw it at Sheriff. 15 to hit.
Does not. Praise the Lord.
Okay, yeah, so javelin just goes a little over your head.
You said 15 to hit, not
Yeah.
23, right?
Correct,
Okay, yeah,
15. He did not have advantage, so yeah. But then he goes ahead and you see him pull out a rather large great club. It's a big, almost looks like a small tree trunk. And he's brandishing it and looking at you all menacingly. Meanwhile, this orc will go ahead and try to attack Claudius with his great axe. 19 to hit. What's your AC?
19.
Okay, yeah, then meets beats. So in that case, it does hit. And it deals 8 slashing to you.
Jeez.
Okay, the other thing that these orcs have is they have aggressive. So as a bonus action, they can essentially double their speed. So you start to see orcs pouring out of the cave. How many orcs can there be?
Too many.
All right, so there's going to be 2 more orcs attacking Claudius.
Yeah.
And both of those miss.
Good job, thank you, bro.
One orc will attack Sheriff. 17 to hit
It does indeed hit.
for 5 slashing.
All right.
And then 4 more
Down to
orcs
20.
in the back will go ahead and pull out their javelins. We'll say that 2 throw at Tormar and 2 throw at Astar. So these first 2 will be at Athtar. 25, natural 20, definitely going to hit. He takes 9 damage. Oh, no, I was wrong. What I meant was that. And then the other 2 at Tormar. For 13.
Okay.
Claudius.
Hmm. I wish to attack this beast in front of me.
All right.
How about this?
11 will miss.
Gotta be kidding me. I'll just raise my shield.
Alrighty. Aftar. We'll go ahead and he's gonna start breaking out his spells. Oh, he sees all these people. Ooh, that's a fun one. He will go ahead and cast Fairy Fire. So let's see. 20-foot cube. So he'll hit all of those. It's going to be the ogre. And these are, I believe, dex saves. Let's see. Yeah, dex save 15. So the ogre fails. And then 5 of these orcs will go left to right. Okay, so the first 2 succeed, but then the 3 that are attacked directly in front of Claudius all fail. And that will bring us to Sheriff's turn.
Alright, I'm just reading the description on something real quick.
So you can see these 3 orcs and the ogre are all glowing.
Okay. Alright, I want to try and hit this ogre
Okay.
with my... Okay, I'm just in range of it. I want to use my witch bolt on it.
Okay, now if it's an attack roll, then that means it would be, if it's a ranged attack, it would be at disadvantage because this orc is in melee range of you right now.
Okay. Well, let me not do that then. Is he within melee range though? Because I'm technically up 5 feet above him.
Yeah, he is attacking you from below, but he is still within melee range.
Okay. Let me go with my green flame blade,
Okay.
and I'm gonna swing with my +1 short sword.
Alrighty. Uh, 10 misses.
Okay. I'll use my action surge to go again.
Okay.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Green flame blade, and then swinging with the short sword.
14 hits.
All right.
This guy will take 5 damage. Flames.
Oh, that was the wrong button. Whoops. There we go.
Alrighty. Tormar.
Okay, I'm going to use Scorching Ray. The The first ray will go to that guy,
Okay.
and then the other 2 on that one.
Okay. They all have advantage. So yeah, natural 20, 25, and 20. Yeah, they all hit. Yep, that one goes down. And then 16 to the second guy, and he goes down. Very nice. Anything else for you?
No, that'll do it.
Okay. Well, the ogre
I have
will...
a quick question.
Yes.
So if I want to use my cantrip, can I still attack twice with my short swords like I would with using an action, then bonus action with 2 weapon fighting?
No.
Or no? Okay. So I can either attack with 2 of them, or I can do the cantrip then attack.
Correct. No.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So you have to take the attack action in order to attack with your bonus action and 2 weapon fighting, which,
Okay.
Even though it's similar, casting a cantrip is not the same as taking the attack action.
Okay.
All right. So this
Makes sense.
ogre will go ahead and step up over the bodies of
Wait.
these
You could
two.
say he ogre their bodies.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Why'd you go
For that, I hope he crits you.
No.
No, 12.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
All right. The orcs will go ahead and continue attacking. Let's see, this one will come up here. They still have the bonus action dash ability, so he'll come up here. He's actually going to go all the way around to the back. And this one will come up here. All right, so first one will attack Claudius. 24 to hit. For 11 slashing. I had 2 attacks on Sheriff. Both miss. 2 attacks on Athtar. 1 hit for 10. And 1 attack on Tormund. 18 to hit.
I will use a shield thing
Okay.
from my staff.
Nice. So
Nice.
as the great axe is about to fall down on you, you raise your hand with the staff of defense in it, and it forms a shield that the great axe bounces off of as you deflect it. Claudius, your turn.
So, what I shall do is I'm just trying to think. Okay, I'll take my first attack. I'll take my only attack, really, at the orc to the right of the ogre.
Sure, this guy.
And hopefully hit him this time.
We can hope. You have advantage. Yep, 19 hits. 9. All right. Anything else for you?
Yes. I would like to. Let me see here. Trying to think. Oh, now I remember. Okay. What I'd like to do is cast. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Where are you? No. What is it? What power was I thinking of? Hang on. I'm trying to remember which. I thought it was on that book.
Something that does what?
It summons a shield. I remember.
Yeah, you're thinking of Shield of Faith.
Shield of Faith. Yes. I wish to cast Shield of Faith on myself.
Okay. So yeah, you are currently concentrating on Shield of Faith, which gives you a +2 to your AC. All right. Athtar doesn't really like where he is right now.
He's got the owl.
Right. I forgot about his owl. We'll just say it goes the same time as he does, and it'll harry him. Harry is whoever's attacking him, so he has advantages on his attacks. So he, I imagine, would bonus action Shillelagh, and then would attack with his whip. He has advantage because of the owl. Yep, 18 hits. For 10 damage.
I didn't even know they were all the way down there. I couldn't see them.
All right, Sheriff.
Let me see. I'm gonna swing at the injured orc directly in front of me with my short sword.
Okay. Yep, that hits.
Good night.
He looks grievously wounded, but he is still up.
I'm gonna swing back around with my hand axes in my other hand.
All right.
Wait, two weapon fighting, I have to use the separate weapon, right? The one that's in the offhand?
Correct.
Okay.
Which means, yeah, 12 is going to just miss.
Okay.
Tormar.
I will magic missile all three. The guy right in front of me here.
All right. He also looks grievously wounded, but is still up.
And that'll do it for me.
All right, so the ogre will take another swing at Claudius and misses.
Yes.
The orcs will go back to doing what they do. Ooh, nat
Holy
20 on
crap.
Claudius.
Jeez.
All right, so that'll do 16 damage. Big roll. And I need you to make a concentration check, which is a Constitution saving throw. DC is 10.
Hang on. Alright, so 16 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Bring me down to
11.
Jeez. Alright, you said Constitution?
Yep, a Constitution saving throw to maintain your concentration on Shield of Faith, which unfortunately a 6 is not going to do it. So you no longer have Shield of Faith.
Okay.
All right, and so I've got 2 orcs still attacking Sheriff. Imagine the 22 hits and the 9 misses. For 13 slashing. 2 orcs still attacking Athtar. Now I think Athtar might also have shield. No, I was wrong. No, it's absorb elements that he's got. Okay, so he takes... Oh, 14. He is unconscious.
Wow, these guys hit hard.
Yeah, unfortunately, what that means is if he goes unconscious there, that means the other orc's attack actually would have advantage, which would meet his 20 AC, and he would actually fail 2 death saving throws. Well, no, he probably wouldn't have attacked Aptar, actually. He probably would have come up and attacked Sheriff instead. But a 13 misses you. Okay. And Claudius, your turn.
Okay. Good. Let's see. I will rush. Alright, so what I wish to do. Can I see? Would casting lay hands constitute as one of my actions? Or constitute as my
Yes.
action?
Lay on hands is an action.
Oh, what? You know what? I'll cast lay hands on myself.
Okay.
Isn't it? Here.
Yeah. So you have a pool of 20 health, and you can just use as much of it or as little of it as you want.
I could use all 20 if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it.
Yep, all 20.
We need you to be tanky right now.
So that brings me up to 31.
Okay.
And for my bonus action,
Yep.
I wish to drink the health potion that I have in my inventory.
Sure.
What's your total health?
Total is 46.
Jeez.
Yep.
My total's 28.
So yeah, you get to heal from the potion. 2d4 plus 2.
Yeah, let me turn my keyboard. Alright, so
Does Constitution affect your
Health.
total hit points?
Yes. Because at a level
Okay.
up, you roll your hit dice, and then you add your Constitution modifier.
Okay.
it'd be roll R. What's the command? R.
/ roll space, and then 2d4 plus 2.
That brings me up to 36. Alright. That now brings me up to 36.
All right.
Up to 36. And I raise my shield, preparing for the next attack.
Okay. I'm going to roll a death saving throw for Athtar. All right. And Sharon.
Swing with my short sword at the orc right in front of me. That's pretty hurt.
Okay. Yep, 16 hits.
Ooh, yes.
He is very
Oh.
dead.
Second hit, and my hand axe is coming to the one directly behind me.
Okay. Yep, 14 hits.
Yes, let's go.
Nice.
Both go down.
Thou art doing well, Sheriff.
Anything else for you?
That constituted my bonus action, right?
Yep. That's action and bonus action.
With this orc being downhill from me, he would still get an attack of opportunity if I was to try and step out of range, wouldn't he?
I'll say with disadvantage because of the terrain.
Okay, I want to try to step back all the way over here to where I'm right behind where Claudius is currently.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
All right, Tormar. Oh, sorry. He does get an attack of opportunity, but with disadvantage. Yep, he misses.
Okay, sweet.
Tormar.
Okay, I'm going to cast Toll the Dead on my orc down here.
All right, what kind of save is that?
Wisdom save, DC 15.
Ooh, 19.
Dang.
Yeah, they're not very wise. He's having a good round.
Yeah, apparently. All right, yeah, guess that's it for me.
Alrighty. This ogre will take another big great club swipe at Claudius. 20 to hit.
Yep. Good gosh.
12 bludgeoning. You actually didn't roll that well on it either, to be honest with you. Very, very average. Let's see. The orcs will go ahead and start attacking. First one on Claudius. And he misses.
Thank goodness.
The second one will also attack Claudius. And hits with a 23 for 5 slashing. This one will attack Sheriff. 15 misses, I believe. And the last one will attack Tormar. And misses with a 10. Claudius.
Alright. Enough is enough.
Enough!
I will take my swing at the ogre in front of me, this great beast.
Okay.
Had enough.
Yes, 20 hits.
And I also wish to use Divine Smite as well as this giant monstrosity.
Alright, let's see what your Divine Smite damage can do.
I clicked on it. Did it go through?
No.
Oh, hang on. Let me try it again. Now we go through. I just clicked on it. I don't know what's going on.
Well, if you want, you can just roll the damage. I think it's 2d8.
Here we go.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yep.
Sure.
Alright. Looks like the ogre's still doing okay, but that was a pretty hefty hit. But the giant is the giant slab of meat up here that you're trying to knock over.
Yep.
Alright, so another death saving throw for Aftar. Sheriff said he would BRB, so Tormar, why don't you go ahead and take your turn? And we'll do Sheriff's when he gets back.
Okay, I'm going to magic missile one at this guy, and then we'll send 2 to this guy.
Okay. Yep. All right, you see this guy takes the hits. Almost seems like he maybe takes the hits a little bit easier than the others. This guy looks like he's maybe a little bit bigger and tougher than the other orcs. Like maybe he's the leader.
Okay.
But
Sorry,
he does.
I had to hop up a second.
That's okay. But yeah, he does take the hits from your magic missiles, and then Sheriff, you go ahead and take your turn.
Okay. Let's swing with my short sword again.
All right. Yep, that hits.
My thing might be lagging for just a second, so if damage comes through, just take the first one.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
All right.
Bonus action again, swing him with the hand axe.
Okay. Yep, 18 hits. He's looking hurt, but he's still up.
Okay. That's all I'm gonna do.
Okay. Did you have anything else on your turn, Tormar, or just the magic missiles?
No, that was gonna do it for me.
Okay. So the ogre will take another swipe at Claudius. 23 to hit
Yeah.
for 13
Oh.
bludgeoning.
Holy crap, I'm about to die.
The orcs will attack. 2 of them still on Claudius. I
I
believe
can only
both of
cast
those-
false life on myself, right?
Correct.
Okay, dang it.
I believe 17 and 11 both miss you, right, Claudius?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then 1 attack on Sheriff. 22 to hit
Definitely.
for 15 slashing.
Jeez. Okay, who is that from?
From the leader. That's actually a max damage roll.
Okay, yeah, because I'm down to 5 HP.
All right, Claudius.
I see that there is some importance to this figure behind me, so I decide to attack him with my Morning Star.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Smite him. Smite him.
Now, yeah. All right, is this with smite or just regular?
So I do touch my holy artifact and attack with smite as well.
Okay. And that's to
Delete him.
that's to the orc below you.
Yes.
Okay, so 22, 37 damage. Yeah. He explodes in holy radiance as you bring down your morning star.
Nice.
Praise
You get
Claudius.
Shareth, you get splattered with orc blood. As this guy is in multiple pieces now. That's lightly singeing from the heat of the radiance coming off Claudius's morning star.
Glorious.
Athtar will make another death saving throw. Oh, and Athtar at the beginning of his turn actually comes back to consciousness with 1 hit point. He rolled a nat 20 on his death saving throw.
Nice.
He does, however, awaken with 3 levels of exhaustion because he had failed his first 2 death saving throws.
Oof.
Yep.
Was it Tormar? You're the one who's keeping charge of our party loot, right?
No, I guess that was Athtar.
Okay.
All right, Athtar is going to cure
figure that
wounds
out.
himself.
I can take over for the night, I guess, if he doesn't come back, which I guess he's probably not.
I just wasn't sure if we had one document for it. Oh, I see where it's at. Okay.
Shareth, it's your turn.
Okay. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my second wind constitute an action.
No, it's a bonus. No, it's a bonus action to do second one.
Okay. Do I have to go action then bonus action, or can I go bonus action
You
then
can do
action?
it in any order you like.
Okay. Second one
Okay.
first, then so 1d10 plus 4. So 10
Okay.
HP. I'm gonna gain. I'll be up to 15. And then for my action, I'm gonna use 1 spell slot to use False Life.
Okay. Get you some temporary hit points.
Yeah, at least for the next hour, I'll be a little bit stronger, hopefully.
Yeah,
So 1d4 plus 4.
correct. Nice.
7.
All right, Tormar.
All right, I'm going to magic missile. I guess let's just see if we can take this guy out. So I guess all 3 on him.
Okay. All right, 12 damage. He's pretty hurt. Takes some giant darts. Dart damage. Ogre. Take another big swing. Misses with a 15.
Ooh.
Brings it down on your shield, but you're able to thrust it back at him.
Is a big orc.
This orc, seeing you heal Sheriff, is gonna walk up and attack you. And misses.
I'm gonna stare at him like he's a punk.
This orc will take a swing at Claudius and misses.
Oh my gosh.
Seems as though the tides are turning.
Praise be.
Claudius.
I wish to take a swing at this orc that dare try and strike at me
Okay.
and my comrades. The one to my left.
Alright.
I swipe at him with my Morning Star.
Yep, that hits. And the 11 is enough to kill him.
Huzzah.
Anything else for you?
I wish to put on a dodge. What, can I use the dodge as a bonus action?
No,
A dodge charger.
unfortunately not. You can only do that as an action.
Oh, gotcha. Well. That's it.
All
Yeah.
right.
That's all I got.
Athtar is out of spell slots, but can still Thorn Whip. So he'll go ahead and do that. Ooh, natural 20. And this was on the last orc. For 11. Alright, all the orcs are dead. Now it's just this one giant ogre looming over all of you. Sheriff, it's your turn.
Okay, before I start my turn, I'm dropping something in Discord you guys may like. I saw it at the museum downtown this weekend.
It's cool.
Nice.
First print of it. There's another copy that was signed by Gary Gygax. Who
It
wrote all of
belongs in a museum.
it. It does indeed. They also had a full replica of the Lord of the Rings weapons, as well as the actual helmet that Gimli used on set during the Two Towers.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Sorry. My turn. I am. Oh no, my hit point should be.
Well, you should have temporary hit points on top of what you have there.
Yeah, so I should have 15, and then 7.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had it 14 and 7.
Gotcha.
Well, I'm going to try to witch bolt this ogre.
Okay. Roll an attack with advantage. Yeah, natural 20.
Good shot, Sheriff.
Let me go ahead and subtract the spell slot. All right, so 1d12 lightning damage, and on each of my turns, as long as I don't do another attack, I can just re-trigger this attack without having to roll for an attack roll, basically. Cool. So
No. Let's see. The spell
Each
ends
of your
if
turn-
you use your action to do anything else. The spell also ends if the target is outside your range from you. But on each of your turns for the duration, oh yeah, you can
So 1
use
minute.
your action to deal 1d12 damage to the target automatically.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
So 5 lightning damage.
Well, it's actually 10 because you crit.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Though I don't think that stays. Let's see.
It shouldn't.
You know what? I'm gonna look it up just for fun.
If it does, that's ridiculous. I'm really excited once I get some higher level spell slots, though, because of how broken that can get. Because for every spell slot that I have, basically every spell slot above 1 that I use to cast it, it gives it an extra d12 for damage. So let's say I get like a level 3 spell slot and cast it with a success, I can use 3d12.
Yeah, it unfortunately the crit doesn't hold over to extra turns because it's not an attack roll on subsequent turns. It's only an effect for D12. Okay, so
Yeah, I didn't
think
it did.
So it does 10. Let's see, and just as an experiment. Okay, yeah, so you could roll it out of that too, but yeah, it does. So it'll do 10. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I told it to minus. I told it to minus 10, but it took him to 10 instead. That's not right.
What was that? 12 plus 4.
That was me clicking on the Witch Bolt spell.
Gotcha.
To roll it. I just wanted to make sure that it worked like that. It's okay that you rolled it that way. It doesn't make a difference, but
okay.
Pay no attention to the fact that my roll was better. So now you have this crackling bolt of energy that is running between you and the ogre that you're holding onto and concentrating on.
Perfect.
Tormar.
Okay, I will Scorching Ray all 3 at the ogre here.
All right. Yep, all of those hit. $15 damage. And he's starting to look pretty hurt. Anything else for you?
No, that's gonna do it.
All right. He's gonna try to attack Claudius again, and misses with a 9.
Huzzah!
The orcs are all dead. Claudius.
I will strike thee down, foul beast. I will hit you with my morning star again until you're bludgeoned to oblivion.
Unfortunately, natural 1's gonna miss.
Ah.
Agum.
All right, Athtar will go ahead and Thorn Whip. Hits him with a 15 for 3 damage. Sheriff.
I'm going to use my Witch Bolt again. Well, not
Okay.
use it again, but I'm going to roll for it again.
Well, you don't have
Please hit
to.
it.
Yeah, you can roll the damage, yeah.
Where would let me go through this.
You get
I
to
think
roll-
it gives me
you
an
can-
option on my page to do it.
Well, you just get to roll the d12. Unless you want to cast Witch Bolt again.
No.
Yeah, so you just get to roll the d12 of damage. Alright. Anything else for you?
That's it. I'll probably, every time, even though I'm not recasting it, still just click to bring it back up so I don't have to like scroll all the way back to find it.
Yeah, I like that. That makes sense. Tormar.
Magic Missile, all 3 of them.
How many spell slots do you have?
That's the last one.
Alright.
I got what?
Oh, right,
4
because
for...
Scorching Ray was a 2nd level spell, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Alright, and that is enough to take him down.
Nice.
Praise be.
So you all make it out alive, but Athtar is a little worse for wear. You can see he's heavily damaged and is moving kind of slowly over here.
I recommend we take a short rest before we do anything else.
Yes, that sounds good.
Can we see before we take this rest for the next hour, to see what stuff what stuff the orcs and ogre might have had on them?
Sure. You can see that they do not have any coin on them, but they also were essentially at their home base. So you expect that the reason they probably didn't have it on them is probably because it's somewhere in their cave. But as for the weaponry for whoever's keeping track of the party loot,
I can type it real quick.
you can say
you
that
got
there is one great club that you can retrieve from the ogre. And they all have hide armor. So you can put on there 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 damaged hide armor. And then each one of the orcs have a great axe. So 8 great axes. And you do find a particularly ornate pair of gloves that were on the leader orc.
Can we investigate those?
Yes. During the course of your short rest, you discover that they are indeed magical. They are the gauntlets of ogre power.
Strength becomes 19. If your strength is already 19 or higher, the gauntlets have no effect on you.
Yep.
Guess you could say those gauntlets are very ogre powered.
Wow. It's just getting worse.
I can't help it if I'm half dead.
Would you guys mind if I claimed those? Unless you guys have a better use for them.
Make
I
them
have no use for him.
do more damage, my friend.
But Claudius, what's your strength at right now?
My strength? Goodness. My strength is at 14 plus 2.
And do any of your attacks have like a strength modifier? 'Cause I know mine do.
My Morningstar has a plus 5, short sword plus 4. The spears that I have are all plus 4, and Javelin of Light is also plus 4.
Yeah. So yeah, you would get a +2 on all of your attack rolls and your damage for your attacks, because your strength would go up to 19. Whereas for Sheriff, you currently use Dex for all of your modifiers. So
Including
if you were to,
the short swords?
yes,
Okay.
you should be. If you're not, you can change it, because the short swords are a finesse weapon. So you can use your Dex for everything.
Let's see.
Yeah,
I
it uses
think
the
I am.
Dex. You can see on attack it says Dex. So yeah, they wouldn't actually upgrade that wouldn't actually upgrade anything for you, Sheriff. You would just have a higher strength. So it would increase your strength save, but that's about it. Whereas for Claudius, it would actually be a much bigger deal.
Okay, yeah, then definitely give them to Claudius. Can I switch I can switch my hand axe to Dex, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, because
Certainly.
currently it's using strength.
Yeah,
And
you can use either. Essentially,
Okay.
the way that works.
Saving throws is only strength on the items.
I'm sorry, which one?
On the short sword and hand axe.
Those are either. The only
Okay.
ones that the only ones you have to use strength for are for heavy.
Okay,
weapons.
I'm switching him to Dex.
I will say this
Oh,
much.
yeah.
I will say this much though. If you guys are interested in engaging in the idea of fair loot distribution rules, which usually I encourage with players that are playing in a random group, Claudius, if you were to take those gauntlets of ogre power, which are probably better for you than anyone else, you may want to then give your ring of protection to somebody else, so that you're not hoarding all of the magic items. But that's up to you guys as a group, how you want to do all of that. That's I'm not going to force you guys to do anything, but that's just my suggestion.
Change the gauntlets for the ring. So I can have a little bit of a protection boost. Since Tormar's got the staff that can shield.
Yeah, I'm good with that. The staff helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
And that'll help me a little bit be some tankier since I don't have low HP, because I'm trying to put all my stats into Dex that I can. Or Dex or in Intelligence.
Accidentally put a second pair in there.
Over the gloves?
Yeah.
Oh no, I put one in there, so that's my bad.
Can I just drag the magic item over to my inventory from
You have to do it from the compendium.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll delete my gauntlets of ogre power that I put in there.
DMG or LMoP, or doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter.
For the source book, okay.
They should be the same.
And then just remove the ring of protection from my inventory.
Correct. Yeah, you would just delete it out of there if you're going to give it to someone else.
How do I delete that?
You click on the little lock that's on the bottom right of your inventory.
Remind me what the ring of protection does.
It gives you plus one
one
AC and +1 to all of your saving throws.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I completely forgot that I was wearing the ring of mind shielding.
Yeah, you guys got a couple of cool magic items last time. You guys were hanging out with Hollia Thornton and the Phandalin Miners Exchange. You guys finally brought back and sold a lot of your stuff and got paid. So you guys would eventually go into the cave, I imagine, where you do not find any more orcs. Seems like you have officially cleared out the orcs in this area, which means you will now qualify to get your reward from Townmaster Harbin back in Phandalin. And you do find an unlocked treasure chest that's within the cave, and it holds 750 copper, 180 silver, 61 gold, and 3 vials of perfume, which are worth 10 gold each, and clearly were never used by any of these orcs.
I may wish to covet one of those bottles of perfume to bring home. Possibly.
However, as you guys are all in the cave and exploring in here, You start to hear kind of a well, actually, before we do that, you guys can go ahead and take your short rest, so you can roll your hit dice if you like.
Okay. Can you tell me a value on the Great Club, damaged hide, and great axes?
Let's see.
Or would we
Yes.
know that before getting to Halia?
Sure, yeah, I can tell you that now, so you guys can sell it when you get back into town. The Great Club is actually only worth 1 gold. How much I remember. Pretty unique item.
Didn't it? Who had mending? Or was that Gwydion?
I think that was Athtar.
It was either Astar or Gwydion.
Yeah, Avatar. So yeah, we can say you can go ahead. We can go ahead and say that he would use his mending cantrip over the next several days to fix all of these on your way back.
Okay.
So yeah, you can just put hide armor. Let's see if I can get you the totals. The great axes you could sell for 15 gold.
Each or total?
Each.
Okay.
And the hide armor you could sell for 30 gold each.
Okay.
But yeah, you guys can go ahead and roll your hit dice to for your short rest before we move on. So
There goes my temp hit points. Go one more.
I got 7, 11,
Mm.
18.
I'm only back up to 21.
I've got 30, so I had added 30 to mine.
Okay.
Tormar, were you going into the cave? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was just wandering around.
Sure. So as you guys are all in the cave and have abandoned all the dead bodies outside, you guys start to hear a kind of an odd sound that you don't normally hear, though it is akin to something that you've heard before, which is you hear these loud flapping sounds, as if flap beats from a large pair of wings. At first, your first reaction is you are reminded of this place's namesake, Wyvern Tor, and you think perhaps it's a wyvern, but then the more you hear it, the more you think it's actually much larger than that. And you hear something abruptly land outside with a loud thump. And after a bit of scratching around, you actually would look out and you would see rather startling sight. You see a young green dragon grab the ogre's body and fly away with it.
I've seen something similar to that. Something similar that gave me this scar.
And as you guys see the green dragon, you all instinctually duck and hide because it's massive and very intimidating. And
I ain't going out there.
Right. Well, yeah, none of you would go out. And he's only there for the briefest second. He barely stops as he lands. He's on the ground long enough to sink his claws into this massive ogre and then picks it up with a few wing beats and is flying away.
Oof. I just want to look at everyone else and be like, did you guys have any idea this kind of thing was here? I wonder if the town master knows.
I turn to the rest of the party and shake my head. The last time I encountered something such as that was when I met my beloved, but in the worst way imaginable, and I remove my helmet and show them the scar on my face. I told the healers to leave this scar on my face in remembrance of that beast. My men were able to slay it, but almost at the cost of sight in one of my eyes. The healers were at least able to restore the vision, but the scar remains.
I definitely think it's kind of worrisome that they normally stay out in the wilds, but that one's coming this close to the edge of the mountain range. Because, Wyvern Tour is not like it's in the middle of the mountains. It's pretty close to the edge, and so it means they're moving, or this thing is moving pretty close.
Yes, its home isn't far from here. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, as you guys hear the wing beats get further and further away, if you guys wanted, you would feel safe enough to peek your head out and at least try to see what direction it's going.
Well, yeah, they definitely need to do that.
All right. Well, relative to where you guys are now, it appears as though it is flying mostly to the east, but a little bit to the northeast. In the general direction of Neverwinter. Probably not to Neverwinter, you would know. As you guys have mentioned, dragons don't typically go into heavy populated areas, but it looks like this one may have been hunting and seems to have come across a fairly easy snack, so decided to grab and go.
Did you say east or west?
Sorry, west. You're right, northwest.
Okay. I was like, man, northeast is off the map, back into the deep mountains where they would normally be.
Sure. And if you guys want, you can make a survival check to try to get to make a guess at where exactly it might be heading. Claudius, you get the idea that based on the information you guys had gathered previously about the plague that had been plaguing Thunder Tree, and the heading of what appears to be that dragon, you're pretty sure it's heading in the direction of Thunder Tree.
Can I do a nature check about just my knowledge of green dragons?
Absolutely.
Goodness
Okay.
gracious. That's not too all far away from my order's keep. This is worrisome.
Yeah, 17 is
wife-
pretty good.
My wife is not too far away from there.
I guess I'll just share kind of my general knowledge is that, by the nature of the different colors of dragons, in case anyone in the party doesn't know, is often associated with the type of power that they have. And of course, me not being an expert in dragons, I'm just kind of spitballing here, but it seems to make sense that a green dragon would be associated with poison and plague, and so it makes sense that it'd probably be coming from Thunder Tree.
Well, you got it. That part correct. It does deal and is immune to poison damage. You know that they let's see, what did you roll? You rolled a 17. With a 17, you would know enough to know that its breath weapon goes in a cone. From seeing it, you would see that it was a large creature, which means it's not an old dragon, meaning that it's a young dragon, but not to say that young dragons aren't dangerous. You would know that, especially for a party of your size, that a young green dragon would still be incredibly dangerous for you. The odds of the four of you making it out, all four of you making it out alive of a full toe-to-toe fight with a young green dragon is next to impossible. Not impossible, but you guys would have to have like the best day fighting of your lives, and this dragon would have to be seriously off or injured if you were going to avoid party deaths.
Sounds like a mission for the entire Phandelver Protectorate.
Last but not least, you understand a couple of things specifically about green dragons and how they work within the chromatic spectrum of dragons. The green dragons are not necessarily the most intelligent of the chromatic dragons, but they are the most cunning, which makes them greedy, evil, and very untrustworthy. Now, all dragons are pretty greedy. They are famous for accumulating hordes and keeping them in a lair. That much is pretty much universal amongst all dragons, but greens in particular are very, very interested in gathering and keeping what they have and guarding it. So they're never more than they're rarely more than a day's flight away from where their horde is, and they rarely spend more than a day away from their horde.
I think this is definitely something to keep in mind for the future. I think for now we need to. Excuse me. Sorry. Character didn't sneeze. That was just me.
Sure. Oh, and also they're amphibious. They can fly and they can survive underwater. They can breathe water or air.
I think we need to finish our tour, get a long rest in, and perhaps check out what we need to finish at Wayback OK before we try to pursue anything else about how we could help out with this dragon problem.
Tell you the truth, my brotherhood is not too far. If this thing is supposedly going back towards the direction of Thunder Tree, we could bring a ballista.
Well, we do. If you guys remember, we're going to be able to turn in the quests for the trouble at Old Owl Well, and for Wyvern Thor. I don't remember. Did we ever figure out the Necromancer, City of Erebor?
Well, that's the information. That's the information you got from Agatha. You did approach her, and you got the latest information that she knew on the whereabouts of the spell book for Archmage.
Was it Cyranoff?
No.
I'll say the quest notes we got right now aren't super clear.
Let me.
But we do have
it was
two
Zernoff,
two.
Bow Gentle. I had it on the tip of my tongue. I am actually proud of myself because I remembered it in my brain before I found it in my notes.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I think
Archmage Bow Gentle. They're looking for his spellbook.
Once we turn in the quest for the trouble at Wyvern Tour and Old Owl Well, I think we can definitely knock out Wayback Cave. But the Druid, Redoth, and a family heirloom are both supposed to be in Thunder Tree. So that could be something we put on our calendar for coming to next.
Yeah, and there's also the wagon to deliver in Neverwinter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of up to you guys what you want to do. Just metagame above the game for a moment. I would suggest that you guys go turn in your quests at Phandalin before you go do anything, because either way, the Phandalin is either really close to the Wave Echo Cave, or it's roughly on the trail around to Neverwinter and Thunder Tree. But basically, you guys have two major objectives left that you can do. The Wave Echo Cave is kind of the final confrontation with the Black Spider, to try to save both of Gundren's brothers who have been captured there and taken into the Wave Echo Cave, I should say, the dragon at Thunder Tree, where Rydoth has gone to try to figure out what had gone wrong. And now you guys kind of get that clue of, oh, there's a green dragon there. You would know that a green dragon can actually bring a plague to a place. So basically, you can do one or the other. Whichever you do first, you guys will be level 4 for. And then, should you be successful, you level up to level 5. So you can do them in either order. You'll be stronger for the second one that you attempt. So it's about which one you guys would prefer to do. Would you like to go to the dungeon, or would you like to go face the dragon?
I'm trying to figure out what the note for quest note B. What is Cyranoth Necromancer? What does that mean? I know the city of Erebor 100 years ago is like there was a rumored city of Erebor where it might be, or where the spell tome might be, but I don't remember what Cyranoth the Necromancer has to do with it. Was that who wrote the book?
No, that's who she gave the book to. She gave the book to Cyranoth, the Necromancer, and last she knew he was taking it to the city of Erebor. But that was Sister Jorelli is the priestess at the Shrine of Luck, who had given you this quest.
Is finding the spell tome of what?
She just wants to know its location. They're trying to find it. So any information you can bring back about the tome.
What was the name of the spell tome?
It's just Archmage Bo Gentle's spellbook.
We could probably ask her, somebody in the town who knows about the history of the region.
How do you spell that guy's name? Archmage Bo Gentle?
It's like spelled exactly how it sounds, Bo Gentle.
Okay. Okay. I'm editing this quest list a little bit so it makes a little bit more sense.
That's okay. I'm totally good with it. I like it when the players are interested in the story.
I think it would be important to find out. People of Phandalin. It has to be somebody. Somebody educated enough in this region to understand.
All right. Well, where would you guys like to go?
Let's return to Phandalin.
Okay. Well, it does take you guys a few days to get there, but you're able to easily make it out of the mountains without any issue. You go down the Tribber Trail, and you're able to easily make it back into Phandalin. You do still have your cart that you guys had requisitioned from Cragmaw Castle, so you're easily able to load up all of the equipment and bring it back, no problem. And you guys notice that completely issue-free through your couple of days of travel. It's almost as if, as you guys have slowly eliminated all of the threats in this area, that, wouldn't you know it, the roads are a little safer. You would imagine that if you went into some lesser traveled places, like perhaps the Neverwinter Wood, for instance, that you may still encounter creatures, if not actual, humanoids that you guys have already dealt with. But at least the roads seem like they are currently not being attacked nearly as much.
Oh, it is quite nice that we have that. I say the first thing we need to do is we stop off and turn in these quests.
Okay.
Yep.
So for Phandalin, your 2 quest turn-ins are going to be Sister Jarelli at the Shrine of Luck for the information on Bo Gentle's tome, and then Eldermath Orchard. It was
Oh, one of them was for the town master, for the orc trouble.
yeah. So yeah, you're right. Darren Eldermath was the one who had put up the flyer about taking care of the undead, and yes, the town master Harbin Wester had requested the orcs be taken care of.
Who would you guys like to speak to first?
I would like to speak with, well, since it's on the way into town, I would say let's stop at Eldermath Orchard.
Okay, let's go see Darren.
All right. So I don't believe you guys have met Darren before. He lives on a small apple orchard up here. He is a rather old gentleman. As you walk up to his relatively small farmhouse that sits in front of this orchard, he takes a little while longer than you might expect for him to get to the door for such a small abode. But as you open it, you can initially see why it takes him a bit longer. As you see, he has a cane, and for a second, you actually mistake the cane for what might be a very thin left leg. But then you notice he actually does not have a left leg. He is missing a leg, and walking around with the cane and balancing with his other hand. But he opens the door and says, "Hello, how can I help you?"
Well, we saw the job posting you had on the trouble over at Old Owl Well, and we're just curious to see what all this was about. I believe we've taken care of the issue.
Ah, well, excellent. Yes, I had been troubled by some of the undead activity out there, and I was a little bit well, come in. We'll discuss it more. He starts to hobble back and lets you all in. He's got a relatively comfortable home. He's got a hearth set up with a nice fireplace crackling. He actually had some tea that had been prepared and offers you all some tea if you would like.
Absolutely. Thank you for the hospitality.
Yeah, and
thank you very much.
actually turns out it's apple tea, as you might imagine. And he says, "Yes, I used to be an adventurer back in the days when I had both my good limbs. I'm a little old for it now. You would actually, by the way, you guys would notice this is a human that looks like he's maybe in his 60s or 70s, pretty old." He says, "I actually would have done something about it myself and gone up there and explored it, but I had heard of the undead harassing people on the road and figured it must have some connection with whatever was going on up there in the Old Owl Well. What did you find?"
I'll defer to Claudius.
Or what we found at the Owl Well. So, up at the Owl Well, we found an evil wizard that was using the undead for some sort of task around there.
Aha. Interesting. Were you able to find out what task he was trying to fulfill?
Not exactly. We did happen to find what he was keeping in personal inventory.
That's well, so I would imagine then you killed this wizard and all the undead that were there.
That is correct.
Okay, well, I suppose that deals with the issue. The Old Owl Well, it used to be a very powerful magical area before it was ruined as the orcs poured through this land. So I can imagine a wizard being interested in that location. And wizards, many of them just simply lose their morality after a certain amount of time, and they certainly don't respect the dead.
This is true.
Well, I don't have much. I make an all right living here, but I don't have a lot of coin I can offer you. But I do have one remnant that I had been holding on to from back in my adventuring days that I'd be happy to award to you as a thanks and a token of my appreciation. And he pulls out a small chest and opens it up and takes out a pair of lovely boots with leather straps on them. And he hands over to you the boots of striding and springing.
That is very generous of you, sir. Thank you. Kindly.
Well, I would still use them myself, but ever since that last mission, I can't even use these, to be honest. Unfortunately.
Well, thank you, sir.
Our truly heartfelt gratitude.
You're very welcome. Would you mind if I ask what your plans are in the future?
Well, what we do plan on doing is, well, we're still thinking that out. It's a journey, it is.
The adventuring life. I miss it quite a lot. Well, you can often find me spending my evenings over at the Stonehill Inn. If you ever have any stories, I often enjoy living vicariously through the adventures of younger adventurers like yourselves. Who knows? Maybe I'll surprise you with a story of my own someday.
Well, if you do need any assistance, don't be afraid to approach the red-cloaked gentlemen around here that have been reformed.
Ah, yes, I've heard that they've started to work more for the town rather than against it. That's were you the ones that facilitated that change?
We did, although some of us attempted to. Actually, one of us attempted to burn them out. So I look over at
Well,
Sheriff.
I can understand the impulse, if not the idealism.
We did believe that it come to the conclusion that there was no use in getting rid of such men. All truth be told, I do believe in second chances myself, and I was given one. As I take off my helmet and show him the scar on my face. This was from a dragon that my order felled. I just barely got away from it. They had just fired the ballista into its chest. The bolt pierced it as its claw attempted to go for my head. It clawed my face. I lost sight in my left eye for quite some time.
Well, then we have something in common, as he motions down to his leg and says, I lost this to a green dragon in the north by the name of Venomfang.
Wait, hold on a second. Sir, did you say a green dragon?
I did indeed. It takes up residence in the in that old town up north, Thunder Tree.
I looked back to the rest of my party. The rest of the party, eyes bolted open wide.
Staring right back at you.
Yeah, we just saw that dragon over by the Wyvern Tor.
Really? It's... they must be getting desperate for food for it to range out that far.
Yeah, it snatched an ogre up and just took it off.
That sounds like Venomfang, the loathsome coward.
Coward, you say?
Well,
So
I
you
was a part of an order that was hired to attempt to destroy the dragon after it had been terrorizing the livestock surrounding Neverwinter. He never was as much.
What order was that?
Let's see. I had to go and close my sheet on that, didn't I?
I might recognize it. Either that or the Gilded Lion himself might recognize it.
The Order of the Gauntlet.
Gauntlet.
Yeah, we are a small order, and, well, we became much smaller after that day. There were 7 of us. And, we made the mistake of attempting to sneak up on the dragon in its lair. Unfortunately, it noticed us. We weren't as sneaky as we thought we might be. And, well, many of my brethren fell in the initial moments of the battle due to the dragon's breath weapon. I was one of only 2 that made it out alive. But we were unable to defeat the dragon.
Goodness. How did you escape?
Well, I believe that once he had torn my leg from me, but he stopped looking at me as a threat and began to focus on the rest of my party. I was able to crawl far enough away that I was able to hide until the dragon had flown away hours later. After playing dead for several hours and being mighty close to it, to be honest, I was able to limp away far enough to find one of my well, he's no longer one of my brothers. He had been stripped of his title, the Order of the Gauntlet, for running from that fight. I guess part of me can't blame him after seeing 4 of my brethren just instantly destroyed by the dragon's breath that he decided to scramble and run. But part of me will never forget of him, but part of me also can understand his instinct and why he did what he did. It was a terrifying creature.
Interesting.
But after that, it was clear that I had no choice but to retire. I spent several years in Neverwinter trying to at least retain some semblance of rapport in my order, training new recruits. But as the recruits came slower and younger and less respectful, I decided to retire to here in Phandalin and just take the simpler life.
I can see that. I can understand that. Tell me, a man such as yourself of such character, I mean, other than missing a single limb, why not settle down?
Well, what do you think I'm doing here?
No, I mean, with a beautiful woman in company.
Well, I suppose it's always been a bit of a confidence issue. To be honest, I've often found myself my mind wandering to a certain lady here in town.
And who would that be, might I ask?
Make a persuasion check.
Ooh, he playing matchmaker.
I am an honorable man, but I also wish to see other people receive happiness. Wait a
I'll
minute.
say knights are able to perform weddings, I'm pretty sure.
Well, there's quite a nice farmer that lives on the other side of town. Her name is Colleen Alderleaf. Also, I get along quite well with his son, an aspiring adventurer. He occasionally will come by the orchard and has been interested in telling me tales and stories. Perhaps one day I'll see if Quaileen feels the same as I do.
One
And is
day,
that-
dude, you're getting old. You gotta jump on this now.
Tis true.
I say not to be rude, just speaking plainly. Like, don't waste your time. And
Well,
I want to try to persuade him and say, today is a day like no other. I encourage you to go make this known.
all right, roll a persuasion check. I'll say with advantage because Claudius is already getting you guys off to a good start.
Oh gosh, -1 charisma. Don't bite me now. Dang it.
Well, 14.
Eh.
14's pretty
Okay.
good. It's like, I'll certainly take your advice under consideration. You must understand I move about half as fast as I used to.
I turn to the rest of the party and take off my helmet so I don't echo into my own helmet and whisper to them, "What if we ask the child to parley on behalf of this gentleman right here? He could possibly persuade his mother."
And I'll whisper back. Let's the dragon first.
Hmm?
Let's kill the dragon first.
Oh. Hmm.
But not a bad idea.
Yes.
That way we could offer the head of the dragon as a wedding gift.
This is true. It could be viewed at the reception,
Yup.
put on display for all to see. After, of course, we get it prepared. Nobody wants blood and guts all over the place.
And assuming she says yes.
Well then, good sir, we thank you for this gift. We thank you for the company as well.
Well, I thank you for your bravery. Making the areas around Phandalin safer.
Absolutely.
It's nice to see a band of young adventurers that care. It's
Of course, if there's ever anything you need, if we're not around, you can go to the Sleeping Giant Inn and the Phandelver Protectorate will be there to help look out for things.
well, thank you very much. I'll keep that in mind. And he actually puts on his coat and his hat and says, I think this might be a good time for me to head down to Stonehill Inn, in fact, and go ahead and get me a drink. Perhaps that will raise my courage a bit.
I reach
Well.
into my coin purse and toss him a gold coin to help him with that.
I'll say, you know what, boys? Why don't we join them after we turn in this quest with the Delmaster? We're due for a little bit of a break.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, well, I'll meet you there then. So he opens the door and...
Cue me trying to metagame a little bit of role playing.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's see, ushers you all out as you're all heading out. He
So we just got the boots from that, right?
Yes. So yes, you
Okay.
do have the boots of striding and springing. You guys can decide who you feel would best utilize that.
You guys.
Who springs? Who's flighty? I wonder who. It's a tough decision.
Cool thing is that these are not attunement items. It's not an attunement slot that you would need, so anybody can use these.
You know what? After hasn't gotten anything.
Well, for now, why don't you guys go ahead and take it? And if you guys want to redistribute magic stuff when Aptar gets back here, you can feel free to do that. But
Tormar, would you have any need for him?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, imagine jumping around like a wild man, jumping off of trees and casting magic missile, and completely stupefying the foes.
Could I take them and give Tormar my ring of mind shielding? If you're interested in it. If not, we can just add them to the party loot.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take the boots, that's cool. I don't remember what the ring does.
It keeps you from let me find this. You're
I can bring it
immune
up
to
for him.
magic that allows other creatures to read your thoughts, determine whether you're lying, know your alignment, or know your creature type. Creatures can telepathically communicate with you only if you allow it, and you can use an action to cause the ring to become invisible until you use another action to make it visible. If you die while wearing the ring, your soul enters it unless it already houses a soul. You can remain in the ring or depart for the afterlife. As long as your soul is in the ring, you can telepathically communicate with any creature wearing it. A wearer cannot prevent this type of telepathic communication.
That's interesting.
Unfortunately for you, when you attune to the item, no one talked to you, so it is currently not occupied.
All right. Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Okay.
All right. So where would you guys like to go next? You still have the Shrine of Luck and the Town Master's Hall quest turn-ins.
Go to the Shrine of Luck since it is on the way.
Okay.
Let me just remove this ring real quick. Make sure you add it. All right. Heading to the Shrine of Luck, you said?
Yeah,
Yes.
so you guys see the small shrine of stones next to these nearby ruins where Timora typically sets up her shrine to the goddess. Or no, sorry, Sister Jarelli sets up her shrine to the goddess Timora, goddess of luck and good fortune. As she sees you, she says, "Ah, I see you've returned."
Yes, we bear some interesting news that we gained, or information rather, that we gained from the Banshee.
Excellent. So she did reveal herself to you.
Yes.
Did she appreciate the comb?
Absolutely, and more importantly, the kind gesture.
Excellent. I thought she might. Well, was she able to provide you with any information on Bogentle's spellbook?
So, she did give us information, but it is 100 years, a century out of date.
Well, it may still be useful.
She said the last person who received the spell tome was a necromancer named Cyranoth, rumored to be in the city of Erebor.
Interesting. Well, as you say, that is rather out-of-date information, but it does at least provide a lead. I can go ahead and speak with my order, and I can see if perhaps they are able to follow up on this and make their way out to Erebor to investigate where it may have gone from there. But that is far more information than we had on its location. So I thank you very much for this information. That's exactly what I was looking for, and my order would like to reward you, as would I. and she pulls out of her one of her bags 3 potions of healing that she hands over to you for payment.
Well, thank you
Yes.
very much.
Could definitely use one of those.
I'm just adding them to the party loot for now. I figure we can split up stuff once we sell it.
And she actually looks over to you, Tormar, and says, "It would appear as though you have interest in the magical arts, such the type of magic, perhaps, that Bo Gentle himself was using."
Yes, possibly. What type of magic was he using?
Well, he was an archmage that you might call him more of a general practitioner. He dabbled in all 7 of the elemental magics and all of the schools of magic, I should say. He didn't. I wouldn't say that he was particularly heavy into one type, but his spell book is that of a 20th level magic user of the greatest order of archmages. So I can imagine that finding his spell book would be a pretty interesting find for what type of magics had actually developed from back in his day.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
There may even be some lost spell work that used to exist but has been lost to time.
Hmm.
If
Do you
I
have any leads to where the city of Erebor might be?
Yes, Erebor is a small city that is down in the south. I actually believe I believe I had given you guys a spot where it is on the map. Um, or had I? Maybe I didn't give that to you. All right, let me see if I can look that up real quick. Okay, so this was the best image that I could find on where it is on the map, but I still need to find what part of where this is on the larger map. But it's not in this area. It's somewhere pretty far away where you guys don't currently have access to. But if you were to do some research, she tells you um, some of the surrounding areas, and then it's near the Reaching Woods.
Near the Reaching Woods?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let's look at a greater map of the Sword Coast. Gotta find one that's big enough to actually be able to read everything, though. Okay. There it is. So it is it's a little ways east of Baldur's Gate. So it's pretty south on the Sword Coast. So yeah, you guys are pretty much in the furthest northwest portion of the Sword Coast map. Here, I'll give you the full map here. If it'll let me copy and paste it. Nope. It won't let me copy and paste it, so let me save it real quick. So yeah, you guys can see, probably easiest to see is the Reaching Wood, down towards the bottom right part of the map, and you can see,
Oh, so it's still a long way away.
yeah, Erebor is that tiny town to the a little further bottom right. So yeah, it's pretty far away.
Yeah, that's super far. Wow.
Yeah.
That's like the other side of the continent. Not continent. Usually south of the Sword Coast.
Yeah, yeah. Baldur's Gate is probably the biggest town in the south, where Waterdeep is kind of the biggest city in the central part of the Sword Coast, and then of course Neverwinter is the big city in the north. Those are kind of the three big ones.
Man, I was right. Once you get past, um, once you get past the Triboy Trail and the long road, a lot of the central area is just mountains and forest.
Yep.
A lot of wilderness. That's cool.
Yeah, and then there's also a lot of interesting stuff out to sea in the Sea of Swords. But anyway, we'll bring it back in here. Sorry for that little detour.
Could we pin that message on the channel that's got the map of the
Yeah.
Sword Coast?
Yeah, absolutely.
I figure since that's the region we're in, if we keep going, we'll probably be around a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, so she generally describes where that is, but to be honest, that's a little bit further than any of you guys have been, especially recently. You guys have all been adventuring here in the northwest part of the Sword Coast, so you're pretty unfamiliar with. I mean, like she tells you in general, but it's kind of like saying, this is in this small town in the eastern part of Afghanistan that's, you know,
Hmm.
2 days southwest of this other place. You have no idea where it is. You know generally where Afghanistan is in the world, but it might as well be on the other side of the world to you. You have no idea where it is. Logistically, like trying to get there today, you'd have to figure some shit out first. All right, let's go back into Phandalin. But yeah, she mentions that that if she does find any more information on where it is, her order may be interested someday in trying to hire a group to try to track it down if it's somewhere where they wouldn't be able to easily retrieve it or purchase it. They imagine that if it's lost, it's probably because it's in the hands of a very strong magic practitioner, or it's somewhere that it would probably be hard to get and would probably require an adventuring party to find it. And Tormar, you realize that as much as it would fetch a very handsome price to sell a book like that, you also know that as a magic practitioner, that would be a very strong interest to you in terms of a resource in expanding your magical, your magical capabilities.
Yeah, very much so.
All right. So, anything else for Sister Dorelli, or do you guys want to continue on to the Town Master?
I'm good with going to the Town Master. I think she's answered all of our questions we have right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So
Definitely
you guys
given us a much wider view of the world that is still just beyond probably our grasp right now.
Well, she is very traveled. She's she is she's not an old elf necessarily, but she is. But you know that elves live pretty long. So the fact that she even looks like she's, maybe in her midlife, you would imagine that means she's lived for hundreds of years. So she's definitely had a lot of time to travel around. But anyway, you guys make your way over to Town Master Harbin. You enter into the Town Master's hall, and you're greeted by his young page, who runs up and retrieves the pompous, large Town Master as he heads down the stairs of the Great Hall in the Town Master's hall. Ah, I see the adventurers have returned. I hope you've all been successful in your journeys.
Indeed, we have. We found the orcs at their supposedly new home and quickly evicted them.
Aha! Did they escape, or were you able to figure out what exactly they were doing here?
None were able to escape. We didn't quite figure out why they were here, but we did destroy them all.
Well, I suppose that's just as valuable.
If I were to take a guess, it seemed like they were just scouting for new lands, probably out of necessity.
Interesting. Yeah, I suppose Wyvern Tor would be a good place for them to set up a base ever since the Wyvern had been driven away from that area. So, makes sense for them to take up residence in a mountainous terrain that would be difficult to traverse and root them out of. But well done. I'm glad that there were a group of adventurers that were brave enough to go stand up to those orcs and take them all out.
Well, we certainly glad to be able to help out, but also get paid for it.
All right. Well, certainly. And he sends his page to the back to grab your reward. He says, for the record, if you all are looking for any other work and come across any other perceived or discovered threats that could cause any issues to Phandalin, feel free to let me know. And if I hear of anything else, you can feel free to return here, and I'd be happy to assign you with any other work that comes up.
Well, there has been two things we need to finish up. It seems to be there's some trouble being made in Wave Echo Cave, and we're going to be trying to receive some people that we can rescue from there. So that could definitely be a danger to the town if we don't take care of that. But also, there's been sightings, and we saw it ourselves as we were leaving Wyvern for a green dragon, which we can assume is this venom fang up near Thunder Tree that's been causing a plague, and I'd really hate for that to happen here.
Really interesting. I had heard rumors that there was a green dragon in the north, but wasn't quite sure how seriously to take it. But go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Okay.
Ooh, a 2. It's not quite the worst thing you can roll, but it's close. He says, well, I'll certainly put some feelers out and see if I can get any more information on the location and the what this dragon appears to be doing so far south. If it nests in Neverwinter, I wouldn't imagine that it would be a direct threat to us.
I'll look to Claudius and tell him. I said, you tell him you saw it, and you're more dramatic than me.
Yes, indeed, I saw it. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
All right.
It reminded me much of the beast that almost took one of my eyes out.
And where did you see it?
We spotted it right outside of Wyvern Tor
Aha.
as we were looking outside the cave.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check. I'm going to say with disadvantage because you didn't start off well in this encounter. But
Sorry.
I'll give you a shot to turn it around. Turn it all around, Claudius. 7. He says, yes, well, I will certainly look into this more. If this does indeed turn out to be true, I could offer somewhat of a decent reward for it, but I'm going to be fully honest with you, is that if this is something that's plaguing the ruins of Thunder Tree, then it's probably more of an issue for those that live in and around the area of Neverwinter. So it's more likely that they would be willing to offer you not only a more substantial reward than I would be interested in giving you, but also they could probably provide a much larger incentive in the first place, being that they're such a large city. It's nothing personal. It's just I have to weigh how much of a threat it really poses to the people of Phandalin against what I could possibly offer for you. And it's right about that time the page comes back and he gives you he hands over a sack of 100 gold. He says this was the proposed maximum that I could offer for taking care of the orcs. And again, I thank you for your time and your bravery. And I thank you also for the information. I'll have to check in with some of our scouts to see if we can track down this dragon's location and where it's been heading.
I want to kind of glance at the party and then glance back at him and said, well, you paid for an ogre, or sorry, you paid for an orc, or orcs, but we ended up having to take care of orcs, an ogre, and nearly escaping the dragon.
An ogre, you say? Do you have any proof of the kill of the ogre?
Actually, I do. I have this great club here still with us out in our wagon.
May I see it?
Of course, and I'll just direct him out to the wagon where we still have all of our gear loaded up.
All right, and he does accompany you, and he looks at it, and he attempts to pick it up, but you can actually see that even a rather large gentleman that he is, he can barely lift the great club, and he says, "Oh my goodness!" And he looks at it; it's bloody. You know, clearly, I can imagine only something as big as an ogre could have possibly wielded such a large and crude weapon.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right.
Let's see. Let me go back in and do a few calculations. I imagine that you are correct. There should definitely be an extra reward for killing an ogre. Uh, by the way, just for my own curiosity, was it the ogre that was? Do you know if it was the ogre that was leading these orcs, or?
No, it wasn't the ogre. That beast was too stupid to do so. There was another orc that was leading them.
Aha. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I just had never known an orc to work with them, or an ogre to work with the orcs. So it's a bit troubling. I'll have to add that to the report that I send back to Neverwinter. And he goes back in and he emerges and he brings back a sack that has an additional 58 gold.
Awesome. Well, we definitely thank you for the generosity.
Well, as I said, it's important for us to reward those that do good deeds and services for the town. And as long as I can continue to facilitate that, I'll do my best to do so.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
All right, and with that, he heads back in to the town master's hall. And with that, I believe you guys have turned in all the quests. Is there anything else that you guys want to do before the sun goes down here in Fandolin?
Definitely
Do you
believe that
guys-
we should stock up more on some potions.
Yeah, I was gonna say before we turn in to meet up with our pal over at the inn, do you want to stop by Halia's and sell anything? Or well, we don't really have many magic items, but we could stop by
The
the Lion Shield
Cluster?
and then maybe stop by Holly's first thing in the morning if we're looking to purchase anything.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, well, you would know that you probably have enough time in the day to do both, if you guys want to.
Okay. Yeah, I'm done with that.
Okay.
If you guys are.
So just to streamline things a bit, you go to the Lion Shield Coster and you would get the offer for the full amount for all of the armor and armaments that you have.
Okay.
Lenine
Do you
is
guys
happy to
do you
take
guys know
all those
anything
things off
about-
of you.
let me ask the party real quick. Do you guys know anything about the scroll of darkness that's in a bone tube?
Well, darkness is a spell, so it's
Okay.
it's a level 2 spell scroll that can allow you to cast darkness once from it, which is a magic item that that Halia would be interested in purchasing if none of you want to keep that item.
I might be able
Okay.
to transfer it to my spellbook, I think, right?
That is correct. If you are capable of learning level 2 spells, which you are, and darkness is a spell that is on your spell list, which it is, you can transcribe it from a scroll into your spell book, but it costs 2 hours and 50 gold per spell level. So for you, it would take 4 hours to do it, and it would cost 100 gold worth of paper and ink.
Okay, well, if nobody else minds, I might take that and possibly transfer it to my book.
Okay, alright, so we're gonna give you that scroll of darkness. I'm gonna go ahead and remove it from party loot.
Cool, thank you.
You guys good with selling this pearl unless someone has a need for it?
No.
The main value in a pearl, particularly a pearl worth 100 gold, is that it is a spell component specifically for the spell Identify. But if you guys don't have Identify, which you basically don't need to have Identify, but it can help out in... nice thing about it is that it's a ritual spell, so you don't have to prepare it. But also, it can help you discover more quickly the identity or the identification of a magic item or a magical effect. And the one thing that Identify does for you with a magic item that just simply studying it cannot do is that it can discover whether or not something is cursed. So if you study a magic item for an hour, you can figure out what it does and attune to it. But if you spend 10 minutes or you just do the regular casting of the spell, then you can instantly know what it is and what it does, whether or not it's cursed, and you also get a little, history on the item if that's, if it's like a specialty item without having to make a history check, because you get that as part of the Identify spell.
Any interest in anyone for having the pearl?
No.
No, I don't currently have that spell, so.
Okay. If we can definitely sell the pearl and the tiny jeweled box. Both.
Okay. And the pearl you could sell for 100. The tiny jeweled box, she'd actually be willing to pay an extra 5 gold on top of what it's worth.
Okay.
And this is Halia that it would be buying those things.
Okay. I'm just doing the math on a couple things real quick. Great
Sure.
Club as well. Would Holly have any interest for buying it for more than 1 gold, or is she just...
No,
No interest.
Halia wouldn't actually buy that at all.
Okay.
That would be something that Lenine would buy. And she would say, I have some interesting ideas for this, actually. It's a bit crude, but perhaps I could make some alterations to make it more usable for a regular person, but still possibly be nearly as deadly.
Okay.
It's going to be an interesting project.
And I'm guessing from this small leather bag that we have, the PP stands for platinum pieces.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have to take that as platinum pieces, or can we take it as gold?
You
Or
can convert it into gold. 1 platinum is worth 10 gold.
okay. Would anybody like to keep any of the perfumes?
Yes, I would like to keep 1.
Okay. Tormor?
No, I'm okay. We can sell them.
Okay. And we've got 3 potions of healing. I say we just give 1 to each of us that is currently here. If you guys are good with that.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. What about these alchemy supplies? You just want to hang on to them for now? We've got 360 gold worth of alchemy supplies from the Nothic. It doesn't specify what those are, just that it's alchemy supplies from the Nothic. Then we've got glass staffs, alchemical notes. Again, doesn't specify what's in them, but just that it is his alchemical notes.
Yep.
And then 3 small bottles that hold rare reagents, which is mercury, dragon bile, and powdered nightshade.
Yeah, that is stuff that Athtar had said he was going
Okay.
to attempt to use.
Okay, so we won't touch any of that for now then.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll just hold it for him.
Okay.
Yeah. If he, for whatever reason, doesn't return, then I'll just be willing to give you guys that gold back at the time, what all that's worth, and we'll split it. And if you guys want to then retroactively use it, like, oh, I would have had this extra 150 gold back when I was in Phandalin, I would have bought this, then I'll just let you guys have that, even if you guys are out adventuring at the time.
Okay.
But in the meantime, while you're there, you would notice that while you guys have been out adventuring for the last week or so, Halia has restocked and gotten some new magic items. So is there anything in particular you guys are looking for while you're here?
Are there any magical shields?
Yes. I do have one shield that immediately comes to mind. It is the Sentinel shield.
Hmm. Interesting. And how much would that be?
Let's see. I think actually, Athtar already has this, which is kind of funny. But she did get another one in. She says she could sell this one for 325 gold.
Trying to see, would it be better than the shield that I have right now? Does it have any sort of, I mean, other than its perk, does it have any sort of defensive buff to it?
It does not. It only gives you the normal. It only gives you the normal 2 to your AC, but it does have the other, it does have the other perks.
Do you have an enchanted one-handed weapon?
Certainly. What sort of weapon are you looking for?
I look down at my morning star and look back up at her, kind of give her a hint.
Yes. She does have a +1 Morning Star, but that actually will not function any better than your current Morning Star, which is balanced and keen, because that offers the same as a +1.
I see. What of enchanted, do you have any enchanted armor by chance?
Yes, I have pretty much a +1 of each type of armor.
What of a +1 of chainmail?
Is that currently what you're using? Is chainmail?
Yes.
Okay. She does have that, but she also has +1 half plate or +1 plate, and they're all similarly priced. The difference is that with the half plate and the plate, it requires a 15 strength score to use it.
Oh my
Put in
God.
Discord what you guys are getting. 210 gold, 53 silver, and 187 copper. I didn't move anything from copper to silver or gold or whatever. I forgot, let you guys do that how you want.
Now the strength shouldn't be an issue because with those bracers that I have 19.
You have 19, so yes, you could use that. And let's see, the +1 plate armor would be she could sell it to you for 1325.
Let me see here. I don't know if we even have that all together.
Yeah, unfortunately, the magical armor is a little bit harder to make than some of the other magic items. It's considered a rare magic item. So you would know, first and foremost, that the rare magic items tend to be upwards of, like 4 to 10,000 gold, typically. Now the more common, like types, well, I'm gonna say common types of rare magic items, but you know what I mean. The ones that are, more simple and there are more of them. Don't tend upwards towards that kind of price range. And you guys are really good customers for Halia, and you've done a lot of good stuff for her in the past. So she's giving you a really good deal on it, but that's about as low as she can actually go. And if you can't afford it now, you can always just put that back in the back of your mind as something you can attempt to get later once you've earned some more coin. But yeah, basically, it's basically the same price for all three of the heavy armor classes: the chainmail, the splint, and the plate. And they offer the chainmail would be 17, so it's normally 16 AC, but it's a +1, so it'd be 17. Where the splint, it would be 18, and the plate would actually be a 19 base. But they do all give disadvantage on stealth.
Can I see what she would be willing to buy a longbow for?
She wouldn't actually be willing to buy a regular longbow.
Okay.
She would only buy magical items. She trades in magic items, where the Lion Shield Coster trades in regular arms and armaments. And they purposefully do not buy each other's stuff. They stay out of each other's lanes.
Okay. I'm gonna ask her if she had that +1 hand axe come in that I was waiting for.
Yes, she does.
Okay, so I'm gonna switch out the +1 short sword for that.
Sure. Easily done.
Okay. I want to ask if there's any other magical weapons that might have come in that I would be interested in.
Well, magical weapons are a bit rare, other than the basic enchantments. So I do have several +1 magic items that come across my path. But any other type of weapon enchantments tend to be rather rare and expensive. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
Not currently, but anything that might help a fighter that focuses on being quick, whether it's a type of cloak or a ring or anything of that sort, if she doesn't have any weapons in it.
Okay, well, so as far as defensive capability items, I think before I had shown you that she does have a cloak of displacement, but it's another one of those that are pretty expensive. But just for fun, I will show that to you again.
And how much is that?
I'm going to be honest, I forgot what I had labeled it at before. Let me check again what my price was going to be for that, and I will recalculate it.
Okay.
Yeah, she describes this as one of the jewels of her collection. That these cloaks are very rare and difficult to make because they have to be crafted with the magical reagents from a displacer beast. And if you actually look at the image, you can see that the sleeves at the end are made of tentacles from the displacer beast, which is amazing.
That is very cool. So I'm guessing you wouldn't part with it for 500 gold.
Unfortunately, I simply cannot allow it to go for that price. But I could sell it for as low as 2,250. But that would be the absolute least that I could sell it, and only because I'm so fond of your group and all of the business that you've brought me. If it were anyone else, I would probably hold fast at probably about 6,000.
I'll just say unless she has anything else that is similar that would be of interest. The only other thing I'm looking for might be better armor, but it sounds how expensive stuff is, I'd probably be better suited looking at the Lion Shield coster.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Yeah, she would thank you for your interest in her business, and she'll continue to try to find things that could be helpful to you and things that you can balance between usefulness to you and affordability.
Cool. All right. That's all I got.
Did she get any more caster type stuff in?
She did get one item in that she thought might be interesting to you. It is a utility item that is called the Spellbinder's Quill. Let's see. And she could sell it to you for 425 gold. And basically what it does is it allows you to describe one level of spell scroll, or sorry, one level of spell worth of spell scrolling into your spell book per day. It magically creates enough ink to cover one spell worth into your spell book. So it essentially replaces the cost of scribing, but there is a limit to it. It's only one per day. But if you wanted to, say, for instance, when you want to add darkness into your spell scroll, over the course of 2 days, the spellbinder scroll will give you enough ink to do that essentially for free, rather than having to pay the 100 gold that you would have to in paper and ink.
That is interesting.
So it's a big cost up front, but it completely eliminates over time. It completely eliminates your overhang for being a wizard, essentially. And she says, this is an item that, again, I don't expect to go very quickly. I expect to have it for as long as it's here, because I don't get a lot of wizards that come through here. So if you can't afford it now, you can always come back for it later.
I would like to show her the shoes that are on my feet and ask her what she'd be willing to pay for the boots of striding and springing.
Interesting. She would offer Um, 1,200 for those.
Hmm. I'll ask if there is any way she could do 500 gold plus the boots for the cloak of displacement.
Hmm. Ooh, that's a tough one. Uh, roll a persuasion check.
Darn.
She says, I could probably do it for those boots and 900 gold.
I'll just say, well, perhaps we'll be back soon then.
I certainly hope so.
It'll give me a chance to test and see if the boots are worth keeping or not.
Well, let me know how they work, and perhaps perhaps I might find it. I'll keep an eye out for someone who might be an interested buyer for that. I have a couple of people in mind. Perhaps I might be able to come back with a slightly higher price than that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I want to do with Holly for now. I've got the axe I was waiting on. Don't have quite enough for the cloak I want to buy just yet.
How much
Anybody else?
would she pay for the ring of mind shielding?
That's something that you guys bought from her. So, I really should and will in the future start recording exactly how much these are. But basically, she'd be willing to, if you guys are dissatisfied with it or find that you're not using it, she'd be willing to pay what, she'd be willing to take a refund essentially. But I would have to go back and look up what the price was.
Okay.
Let's see, what's my rough guesstimate for the Ring of Mind Shielding?
Yeah, I bought it, but I don't remember how much it was for.
Luckily, I mean, I record all of these, so I can go check the recording and figure it out. But let's see.
What was that that quill thing called again?
The Spellbinder's Quill, and that is a custom magic item. That's not something that it's not something that's actually. Well, it might be a thing. Let's see. Nope. There is a Spellbinder pen, but it's different, I think. I'll create, if you decide to buy it, I'll create a handout for it specifically. But yeah, that's just it's something I'm ripping off from one of the DMs that I play with. But yeah, it's
Cool.
a pretty neat little item. Because it kind of sucks being a wizard sometimes when it comes to that stuff, but
And then she has all the first level spell scrolls, correct?
she does.
And how much are those?
Let's see. Nope. That is on here. First level spell scroll, 30 gold.
Okay, I'll get a false life scroll.
Sure. Easily done. That's what the Spellbinder Quill looks like. And give you a description. And it is not attunement, so it's just something you can have. Oh, that's wrong. To edit that.
Can a Eldritch Knight use Wizard Scrolls? Or is
That
it only on level ups?
that one is unless you use a spell book, which I don't think you do. That one is probably just on level ups.
Okay, I do not use a spell book in the same way that a wizard does.
Right. Yeah, whenever you gain a level in this class, you can replace one wizard spell, with another
Okay.
of your choice. The new spell. Yeah, so I think, you learn a new spell at each level. Well, you have to look at the chart. Based on the chart, like at third level, 3 spells. At fourth level, 4 spells. So in that level up, you get a new one and can replace one. And that's the cool thing about the Character Mancer is it'll actually walk you through that. So you won't always have to reference this. You can just, as you level up your character, it'll help you do that.
Okay, cool.
I just happened to already have that brought up from our earlier discussion on Eldritch Knight Magic. It was easy to find.
Anything else you guys want to do at the shops?
And much like with the Spellbinder Quill, Halia says that she will keep a lookout for things that she thinks you all might be particularly interested in. Much like how she's got a couple people in mind for those boots of striding and springing, just in case you decide not to use them long term.
Very cool.
No, thank you.
Well, if you guys are ready, I'd say we turn in for the night at the inn, have a drink with our pal, and then after that, get a long rest in.
Yes.
Yeah, sounds
Alrighty.
good.
All right, so I guess we'll head back over to the inn. If we still got our cart in tow, because we've been carrying it with us, we'll just park it behind the Stonehill Inn and head on inside.
Yeah, they actually they have a small stable area near the Stonehill Inn that actually takes care of horses and can certainly store your traveling cart.
Very cool.
And you guys are well known. At this point, you're basically heroes of Phandalin with everything you've done. So most of the places that you go for just general services, they don't really charge you. You get a free meal and a couple free rounds. Which if you guys wanted to drink heavily, you might have to start paying. But the first couple of rounds are always on either the bartender. The tavern keep, or a couple of the locals might come up and buy you a drink. And as you guys enter the Stonehill Inn, you do notice that things seem a little bit more jovial around here ever since the overthrow of the Red Brands, who are now properly labeled in your guys' image as the what was it? The Phandalin Protectors.
Yep.
Yeah, the Fandelver Protectorate.
Yeah, there you go. Phandelver Protectorate. And there are even a couple of these members that do come drinking with a buddy here in the Stonehill Inn, and there's kind of not really even keeping a watch out, but they like to have a presence here just in case something was to happen in the inn, like a fight would occur. But that hasn't happened recently. They would report to you. You do notice that it does appear as though Quaileen had come in for a drink and for some socializing, and it does appear like Darian Eldermath had decided to buy her a drink, and they appear to be flirting at one of the tables.
Yes.
Do we have a conversation with them, or do we just let them be and enjoy their own time?
I think we should leave them be.
I agree with that.
I agree as well.
Planted the seed, now watch it grow. I like it. You'll also notice that Sildar Hallwinter and Gundren Rockseeker are sitting at a corner table, and they raise their glasses to you as you come in and hail you.
We'll wave back, or I'll wave back and just kind of offer like a cheerful smile.
All right. Well, is there anybody in particular you want to talk to? Anything else you guys want to do, or are you guys just gonna enjoy the revelries for the evening and then eventually head off for a long rest?
I want to walk over to the crew of the Fandelver Protectorate and grab a seat with them at the table and offer to buy a round.
All right. And ale's pretty cheap here, even though it's decent quality. It would just be 4 copper for a full round for the 3 of you, and, well, I guess the 4 of you, and the 2 of your protectorate that are sitting there.
I'll toss a gold coin up on the table and say, "It's time to celebrate. We need to drink until this is gone."
Well, and that will pay for drinks for everybody for the entire night.
There we go.
Big celebration comes underway, and as not only have you guys really improved the state of living here in Phandalin, but you guys have also made the roads and the local area a lot safer. And you guys know that there are a couple things ahead that are fairly dangerous and life-threatening. So this is perhaps a good opportunity to stop and take stock of the good life, and and enjoy your time. You guys aren't necessarily anticipating the end, but you know that adventuring can be dangerous, and it's important to enjoy the finer and quieter times.
I'll just briefly ask the members of the Protectorate that are there how finances are for the guild. I know it's been a couple days since we were last out of town and paid them. Just wanted to ask what needs they had going forward and how we can continue to support the town.
Well, we all got together, and we actually came up with a bit of a business plan to figure out what we might do. We decided to invest a lot of the gold that you had given to us into. We're going to restore the Tresdar Manor, and we're going to see about making that our new base of operations and essentially living quarters for the guards of the town. And meanwhile, those of us that aren't quite as acute at construction, we're actually doing a little bit of hunting, bringing back some meat for the inn that we've sold to the innkeeper. We've also been providing some wood for the new local woodworker. Unfortunately, the man that had passed away in the basement that Glass staff had forced us to capture was the woodworker, but it appears as though Townmaster Harbin had sent for one of the smaller scale woodworkers from Neverwinter to move down here and continue his work. So some of us have been working on chopping down some of the trees a little bit outside of Phandalin and either bringing it into the manor to try to use to restore it. And the stuff that we really can't use for that, we brought into the woodworker and sold to him. And we're working on a couple of other projects. So I think, as much as I appreciate your initial investment, I think that got us going. And I think moving forward, we should be able to be pretty self reliant.
I want to. Did you say they were planning to make the manor an inn, or what was it? What were they planning to do with the old Tresdar manor?
Yeah, basically what they want to do with it is they want to make it a sort of a combination between a barracks and like a guard tower kind of thing. It sits pretty far up on the hill, so it kind of overlooks everything. And they feel like if they were able to build a little bit of a fortified wall around it at the top of the hill, that they could actually have it be kind of a defensive base of operations if Phandalin ever did get attacked. Like they could, if they had enough prior warning, that they feel like they could actually have everyone evacuate to the Tresdar Manor, and that could be a place where they could protect everyone. But also, it would just serve as a good barracks and living situation for all of the guards, so that they don't always have to stay at the Sleeping Giant and take up all of their business, and the Sleeping Giant can actually start becoming more of a regular tavern that houses travelers and people that people that vacation here. They want to come through the town.
What would be another good investment? I do see ruins of it around the town, but the old wall that exists, or at least the bits and pieces, maybe to build onto it.
Well, that's an interesting idea, but I think that would be more of a larger construction project that would probably involve more of the town. For now, we're just we're trying to think of things of a small first step that we can do to offer some more protection in time of a crisis to the town. I think that a small town like Phandalin isn't probably going to be the target of a more large scale attack anytime soon. I don't think it needs full defenses like a Waterdeep or a Neverwinter, but it would at least be nice in case of an emergency, like some sort of natural disaster, or if something unexpected happened, like like goblins had decided to raid en masse on Phandalin, that we could have a place to keep everyone safe. Not only is the Tresdar Manor itself could be a pretty good fortress, but there's also the basement that we could have everyone hide in case there was, say a tornado or a flash flood. Then we'd be higher up. We'd be higher up in the hill where everyone would theoretically be safe.
Can I ask them what it would cost to have a section of Tresdar Manor built specifically so we could have a guild hall? That way, if we ever happen to be passing through town or just need a place to like meet and spend in between quests, that we could have a guild hall for the Phandelver Protectorate. That's maybe got like a couple of beds or a private bar.
Oh, you're saying that you want to buy part of the Tresdar Manor to live in?
Correct.
Like you guys want rooms there. Okay.
Yeah. I would be interested in that.
Well,
Party may not
they
be.
would offer that to you for free. They would say that anytime you guys are in town, we'd be happy to clear out as many rooms as you need once the manor is completed. They said that you don't need to give us any additional money. You were incredibly generous in the beginning to get us going in all of this. None of this would have happened without your initial investment. The Tresdar Manor is rather large. There's easily rooms for all of us, with at least 4 extra rooms to spare once it's completed.
Could we rename it?
Oh, we could. What did you have in mind?
Well, I think in the spirit of the new guild that's watching over the town, Fandelver's Watch had a nice ring to it.
That sounds nice. I'll bring it up with all the other guys. I think they might be interested in that.
Or even Fort Fendelin.
I don't know if it's quite big enough for a fort, but maybe if it ends up built up enough. But anyway, just an idea. Of course, we're going to be traveling around, so it'll be up to the guild to decide that. After that, I'll head up to my room in the inn and turn in for the evening.
Okay.
I will do the same.
All right. So after a night of revelry and good cheer, and you guys spend most of the night trying to watch, but also not watch this budding romance that you may have planted a seed on, and eventually Quailian does seem to indicate to Darian that she has got to get back to her farm and check in with Carp, her young son. She does place her hand on his shoulder and kind of leans in and whispers something into his ear, and they seem to be trading niceties, and they do lean in for a little bit of a kiss. Nothing huge, but kind of a little token of affection. And you can see that Darian looks rather pleased with himself as she gets up and walks out. And then he looks over to all of you and kind of gives a little tip to the hat as if to say thank you.
Good for him.
But yeah, otherwise you guys are able to get yourself a long rest. All right, so as you guys wake up, you are fully refreshed. At this point, it would have taken a few days to actually get back to Phandalin. So we'll say that at this point, Aftar wakes up and is cured of the final of his 3 points of exhaustion and is fully ready to go. So then the question becomes, would you guys like to continue? So you guys have the 2 options: Wave Echo Cave and Thunder Tree. At some point during the morning, as you guys are waking up and having breakfast, Sildar actually comes down and says, "I don't know where you all are planning on going next, but I've decided that as soon as you decide to go to Wave Echo Cave to look to save Gundren's two brothers, I would like to join you.
Well, it's definitely it's the closest threat, and I don't think we're quite ready to take on a dragon yet. And as far as we know, Thunder Tree is Thunder Tree is the abandoned town, right?
It is.
I say as far as we know, Thunder Tree is currently abandoned. It is close to Neverwinter, but it does appear that the plague is still pretty much contained there. The worry might be if it starts to get into the river, that it would flow down water to Neverwinter. But that's probably not as immediate as the brothers that are being held captive in the cave right now.
Well, that's several miles of river from Thunder Tree all the way down to Neverwinter. Plus, that type of city has magics that would easily be able to cleanse that type of river inlet, even if it was so bad as to run all the way down to it. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Neverwinter would know about any kind of plague in that area. I'm not sure they would be able to necessarily do anything about it, but they certainly would be well aware.
Well, I definitely say we should take care of Wave Echo Cave, but I'm open to the rest of the party's votes.
Yeah, I think we should take advantage of the help offered.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I'm maybe a little past my prime, if I'm being honest, but I think I may have one more dungeon delve in me before I decide to hang up the old armor.
Well,
Sure.
so we gear up and get ready to move out then.
It would be an honor to serve along you in such an adventure.
Well, to be honest, I feel like I might be making up for my past failure. I had promised to get Gundren here safely when I escorted him from Neverwinter down to Phandalin, and not only did I fail him in that, but now both of his brothers have been captured. I feel like it's the least I can do to try to make it up to him, to try to see if I can save one or even both of his brothers at this point.
And on that note, before we head out, can we take a 5-minute bathroom break?
Well, guys, I was actually going to pitch, if you guys are okay with it, because we haven't heard from Athtar. I was pitching maybe the idea of ending a little bit early tonight. I usually don't like to do that with paid games, because I do want you guys to feel like you get your money's worth. But also, we have gone over several times so far, so I feel like it kind of averages out. And plus, these are the last two big chapters, so we probably got. If I had to guess, we probably have about 3 sessions left for this story. And then if you guys want to continue on the adventure after that, we can discuss if we want to go into additional modules or all of that. But it would be a shame if Athtar was going to come back, for him to miss any of the Wave Echo Cave or Thunder Tree. So I was thinking this might actually not be not a bad time to call it for tonight, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's cool with me.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay. All right. Well, and then I won't be shy about going extra long in the last 3 as well if we end up in the middle of a big battle or something. So we'll feel like we have a little bit of extra time in the bank for that as well for the last 3 sessions, because Wave Echo Cave is a pretty large dungeon delve. So I wouldn't be surprised if we spend 2 nights just on that. And then Thunder Tree is pretty big too, but it depends on how you guys approach it, really, how we handle that. And then we'll close everything out, and we'll discuss about what we want to do next.
Cool. So just going ahead and giving you guys a heads up, because I know my schedule. The 26th of July, so that's 2 weeks out. I will be unavailable.
Okay, so you're good for the next 2 Tuesdays, but then
Yeah, the
you can't be here on the 26th, on the 3 weeks.
12th and 19th, I'm good to go. 26th, I am unavailable. But anything after the 26th, I'm available as well. Just the 26th is out for me.
Okay. Well, we'll keep that in mind. And I'll do my best to get a hold of Athtar, much like I before didn't know what was going on with Gwydion, but we'll see if I can get a hold of Athtar. He doesn't. He seems a little bit less the kind of guy to just up and quit on us. So I'm wondering if maybe he just forgot or fell asleep or something. But we'll see. Hopefully he's doing all right.
I wouldn't blame him for falling asleep early. It's been very hot as of late.